Join me on the sofa with Esther this Monday in the series Men Supporting Men, where we will be discussing modalities, practices, and therapies for men on their healing journey. I will be joined on the sofa by Skyler Jett, Stuart Taylor, Dante Chi Jordan, and Kwame McPherson, live at 8 p.m. on YouTube.
I know we taught as little boys that boys and men don't cry. That's not true. Men cry too. Men cry too.
Welcome to the last Wednesday of the month. Welcome, Kwame, Soldier. And this is Stuart Taylor. Hello.
Hi, Stuart.
Yes, Kwame.
Bless up.
And we're just waiting for Skyler Jett and Dante Chi Jordan from Rough Ends to join us. David is not able to join us today, but we're going to have an incredible time, I know, an incredible conversation. And so welcome you on the Sofa with Esther in the Men Supporting Men series. And today, ladies and gents, we are going to be talking and looking at some different modalities. We go, Skyler. Different modalities that men can use as part of their healing process. So I'm just here to facilitate because I'm a female, to facilitate these incredible gentlemen. Skyler, hello.
How you doing, my sister?
I am good. So we've got a full house today. I'm just waiting for one more, but we're going to continue the conversation. So I'm just going to introduce you, ladies and gents, to everyone who's here today. We've got Stuart Taylor. Now, Stuart Taylor he's got a strapline that says attention, compassion, kindness, but he's many, many things. So he's a transformative coach. He does something called Dances with Wisdom. Your flourishing is our purpose. Brothers of Kunta Kinte, building unity through community, proudly Afro-futurist.
Afro-futurist.
Afro-futurist. I'm going to put my teeth in. And then he does also host constellation workshops, Life in Flow. So he's joining us today and he's going to be giving us some really great tools and techniques. This show is for men. Like I said, I'm just here to facilitate the conversation. It's your platform. And so Stuart's going to be talking to us about some of the methods that he uses in his workshops and in his coaching. And then we have Kwame McPherson. Kwame, he's the author of My Date with Depression. He's an author, an entrepreneur. He's so many things. What else are you, Kwame?
I facilitate workshops, as you know, speaker, orator, I'm a ghostwriter. So yeah, everything to do with writing to empower and inspire. That's
Absolutely. And then we have Skyler Jett. And Skyler Jett, he's the CEO of Music for Global Change. He's an award-winning, Grammy-recognized vocalist. I've got to read this out because it's like Stuart and Kwame, there's so much. Grammy-recognized vocalist and one of the most sought-after singers, songwriters, and background vocal producers. He's worked with, so many people in the industry, from Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, the OJs, Mariah Carey, the Temptations. But now he's the CEO of Music for Global Change, and that's about conscious lyrics and conscious singing and conscious music to heal. So that is his remit. And hopefully soon we should have Dante Chi Jordan on. He's from the group Rough Ends, the 90s chart-topping group. And their work and their music and what they very much stand for is, here we go, here he is. Just about to introduce him as well. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I hope you all have pushed this out onto all your platforms. And just to say that this show is also going to be on YouTube in the week's time. So yes, I think, Dante. Hello, Dante.
Hey.
Hi. So this is Dante. I was just about to introduce you as well. This is incredible timing. So Dante, like I said, is from the 90s chart-topping group Rough Ends. They're still performing, and their music really is about R&B and love and you know, positivity and so much more. He's also a creator. So, you know, on this platform tonight are some incredible gentlemen and souls who I know are going to really reach in and touch the lives of those who will be listening. So welcome. So just to say, Dante, this is Skyler Jett. And also at one point, Skyler, you had taken over from Lionel Richie in the Commodores, didn't you?
That's
Frozen.
I was the first guy to take it.
You've frozen. But you're all here. You're all here with some incredible stories. Your passion for love, compassion, and healing and transformation. That's what I feel you all bring to this table. So without further ado, I'm going to stop yibbering and yabbering. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over to Stuart. Stuart does some very powerful work. I spent some time with him a few weeks ago. We did a couple of powerful processes that really work around healing. So Stuart, over to you. And, you know, we can dip in with some questions as well.
Thank you, Esther. So I'm just going to start with a short piece of lyric, which is called Transcendent Sublimator. Shame is punitive, beats up on the insecure self. Shame is a soul-devouring demon. Identity wounding, you know, it's a real thing.
Yes.
Identity wounding, you know, it's a real thing.
Wow.
One of the scars of trauma. But shame shrinks away as healing grows, lays down roots and digs in. When we dare to dream, inviting humility and grace into our lives, we can witness them do their work of repair and healing. So get this. Yes, get this. Brothers and sisters, get this good. You and I, we can heal and recover ourselves, walking tall, grounded, proud, our ancestors supporting our movements into the world. Forward on, yes? Forward into life, unapologetic, imbued with grace, scented with purpose, owning our agency. Transcendent sublimator, transcendent sublimator. So get this, yes, get this. Brothers and sisters, get this good. We can heal splits and shadows, restoring calm and pride. A shoreline to call home, no longer mentally haunted. We can shine bright, 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 like the northern lights, delighting in our own intrinsic bioluminescence.
Wow.
Wow. Reminds me of what's going on around your background right there.
Background, yes.
It ties it all in, right?
You know,
that's an American thing, isn't it, Dante? I noticed a lot of the Americans do this. That's an American thing, isn't it?
What does it mean?
Back at you, bros. Back at you.
Back
like
so,
it's like you know, it's like clapping. It's like clapping, but not breaking the mood. You know, because claps is loud.
Yeah.
But, right. You know, if you're in a spoken word spot, you know, the mood is real mellow.
Okay.
That's like the soul clap.
Feeling that.
Nice. That was really powerful.
Yeah.
That was very powerful because you're talking about healing, but you're talking about it in a way that's embracive and not harsh and not blaming. And it's almost like you're weaving those who are feet in that place into this comfortable vortex to know it's okay, we've got you, and there's no but we've got you, and we are going to deal with that, but we got you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more, Stuart, about the work you do with men, and why do you do the work you do?
Okay, so I guess the key piece I'll talk about, because we're men here together with our great sister Esther, is a project that I'm a co-founder of and partner in, called Brothers of Kunta Kinte. And I should first of all break down, why did we choose that name? So we chose the name Brothers of Kunta Kinte because, as I think everybody present here will recall, an amazing American writer called Alex Haley in the 1970s wrote a book called Roots. And it was a semi-autobiographical and semi-mythologized version or account of his own family lineage. As a African American, he was able to trace, to some extent, the lineage of his own family back into West Africa.
Yeah.
And in so doing, he created this amazing narrative arc of the journey of enslaved Africans into America, and how that population of enslaved Africans helped create what we understand modern America to be. And within this narrative, there are a number of very incredible, very remarkable, very powerful portraits and vignettes of individual characters that, woven together, create this incredible narrative. And one of those characters was a firstborn child to an enslaved couple when they arrived, called Kunta Kinte. That was the name given to him in his own language, in the tradition and the lineage of his indigenous culture. And the slave masters, the slavers, sought to basically beat that name out of him. They sought to subjugate him and call him Toby.
Right.
So there's a whole episode, there's a whole sequence within this big narrative about the efforts of the slavers to grind down this man, Kunta Kinte's soul, and for him to accept that he was now Toby, that his identity, his culture, his heritage, his power, his magic was no longer. So it's just a really, really powerful evocation of having a sense of pride, cultural awareness, cultural capital, sovereignty, recognition of the amazing beauty and power of African heritage people, of the African diaspora, and of continental Africans. So it's really resonant, and it's entirely unapologetic. So that's how we chose the name Brothers of Kunta Kinte, because we are the descendants of Kunta Kinte, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the work that we do is around this whole ethos, this whole purposeful, intentional approach of working with brothers to encourage them, to support them, to challenge them, to really dig in, to really engage with the rich, positive dimensions of our shared African heritage.
Yeah.
So we're looking at things from a psychological perspective, we're looking at things from a physical perspective, from an emotional perspective, a spiritual perspective, re-engaging, re-encountering one another, working towards no longer being frightened of soulful encounters with brothers, no longer accepting the subtle and not so subtle brainwashing that we've been subject to from the moment we entered the world.
That's right.
That's the work of Brothers of Kunta Kinte.
Wow. Wow. Gentlemen, any questions you want to field to Stuart? Because I just feel this is going to be a powerful session tonight, you know.
I got to talk about one experience that changed my life. In 1982 and 1983, I replaced Lionel Richie in the Commodores.
Right.
By 1984, I went back to write a song with the bass player of the Commodores, Ronald LaPrade. And he said, Skyler, I want you to write this song with me, and we're going to give all the proceeds to the families that's trying to get one of their kids in college. And I say, I'm down with that, right? And I wrote this song with him, guys. At that time, George Wallace was one of the racist governors ever in history of United States. He was sitting in office, and we had to go to his office and say that we want to give this money to the state of Alabama. Only if he plays it simultaneously on the radio, 360 stations across Alabama, all at the same time, right? So we wrote this song, gave the money to the state. I'm leaving. I was living in Hollywood at that time, and I'm leaving. I got posters and all kinds of stuff under my arm from performing last night live. And I get on the plane. And when I get on the plane, as soon as I turn to go to my seat, everybody on the plane gave me a standing ovation. And they say, thank you for writing that for my state, right? Okay, so I'm walking through first class, and who's sitting there is Alex Haley. Okay.
Wow.
So I went to my seat in the back, and the stewardess came up to me. She said, there was an extra seat by the window with Alex Haley, and he told them to come get me and bring me up to that flight. And I talked with him. I talked with him the whole way from Alabama to LA. He bought me drinks, man. I'm like, wait a minute, I can't believe. Wait a minute, Roots. Wait a minute, what? Beautiful blessing. But then think of the night before when I gave all the money that I had to the state of Alabama. So I got a blessing when I got on that plane.
Yeah, okay.
Skyler, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That reminds me of one of the things I used to say to my youngest son when he was still small enough for me to be able to look down.
Yeah.
For every caring thing you do, the love you give comes back to you.
Yeah.
That was one of our little bedtime ditties. Perfect example, perfect illustration.
And,
Wow.
and I lived in Scotland for the last 5 years. I'm in London now, but there's a saying in Scotland that says, what's for you will never go by you.
Yes.
Yeah. We got that thing too, yes.
Yes, that.
I believe that. You got a dream, right? It's got to be a dream, and then you flourish by the things that you make. Listen, I want to hear you, brothers. I'll come back to what I'm doing now after that, because I've just been blessed, brothers. I swear to God, I had a heart attack a year ago.
Yes, you did. And that's when I reconnected with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a heart attack a year ago. I've been in music for 57 years. And 3 months after I had my heart attack, this young man gets in touch with me. They go, sir, I don't mean to bother you, but I believe you're my father. He said, it took me 3 days to call you, right? But and me and my wife was going at it. Should I call him? Should I call him? And to come to find that, I was 23 years old, man, living in Canada. And, I must have met his wife one time. I was playing in this hotel 6 nights a week. I'm the only black guy in the band. But I'm playing for 6 months. And I must have met his mom. She's come to find out she's Ukrainian. And the crazy thing is she don't want to meet me, But it turns out, guys, we did the DNA, and he's my son.
Wow.
Awesome.
He's 44 years old, guys.
Wow.
And I started thinking about it. I said, man, my dad left my mom when I was 6 months old, so I never knew what it felt like to have love from two people ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for him. And I started thinking about this brother's never been able to call anybody dad.
Yeah.
And me neither, but that's the beautiful thing is like we link. I still haven't met him yet in person, right?
It's gonna happen.
I haven't been to the States in 9 years, but I'm going over to see him, and it's so beautiful, man. Because I got a TV show. I'll tell you about that too. But I got him as one of the hosts on my TV show. We never met live, right? It's so beautiful, man. So I just been blessed. I mean, God gave me another chance to complete my mission, right? And I go out and teach young people about the benefits of positive lyrics, right? People are tired of bad news. Let's give them some good news.
100%. That is our gift, right? That is our gift. It's the antidote. It's the health serum. It's the life serum as an antidote to the not just decades, but centuries of imaginative and emotional impoverishment that we have suffered.
That's right.
Here we are, still we stand, still we prevail.
You're gonna love
this is our gift.
You're gonna love my movement, Music for Global Change. I'm totally stripping down the whole thing of music.
Okay.
I'm an activist, and I get racism out of music. I want to get image out of music, right? And age.
I've got what I call in my coaching world a reframe for you, Skyler.
Well, no, wait. Are you in the UK?
Yeah.
We got a link.
It will happen. It will happen. There's a woman in the room. Okay, she has skills.
We're gonna link up.
There's a woman in the room, and she has skills.
Oh no!
Don't worry, I'm gonna link all of you.
So the reframe, okay, the reframe I wanted to offer you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about taking anything out. Just focus on what you're putting in.
That's all.
If you've got a glass and there's something in the glass, the more water you put in, it displaces what's already there until the contents of the glass is pure.
That's right.
Hey, that's all we need to do.
Well, I mean, you and I go hook up. I love because I want to meet these other brothers before I gotta go. Though. You know what I mean?
It's gonna happen.
Dante's in the States, in Baltimore, and Kwame is in Jamaica. So it's a family affair on a different level that's happening here. But
so you've heard, Esther and brothers, of in the UK there's something called AC/DC.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is about electrical current.
Yeah.
So DC is direct current, and AC is alternating current.
Okay.
So I just want to use that as a metaphor, because we've all heard for so long, for a long time, about the Atlantic Triangle, okay? From Africa to the Caribbean, to the Americas, to Europe. Well, this is a public space, so I'm going to say, shut the front door with all of that. Let's just reverse the current and bring ourselves back into connection with ourselves.
Yeah.
We are the biggest continent in the world, the African diaspora.
Yeah.
So we already have what we need in our culture.
Tell me about it.
In our bones, in our guts, in our DNA, in our subconscious. We already have it. It's not out there. We got it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Now you two have, you can see remember I said I just felt that there was something really powerful that was going to happen on this platform tonight, and you can see that already. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to you, Skyler. I'm definitely going to come back to you, Stuart, as well. But then I'm going to sort of dip into Kwame and Dante, because Dante, as we know, he's from the 19s chart-topping group Rough Ends, but also he's a creator and a person in his own right as well. Yeah. And then we've got Kwame McPherson from Jamaica. So, gentlemen, it'd be nice to get your take about your own sort of perspective of healing, from a musician's perspective, from a creator's perspective, Dante. And I like the chi, because remember when I first interviewed you, chi.
Chi. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my actual appellation. Chi.
Yeah.
So starting at the name, my actual appellation is Chi, which actually means life, like life force, like life energy. So we all know up to this point, we're all grown, Let's just start at that point. We're grown, so we know enough to know the effects of words, your words. You know the old saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. We know as long as we've thrived and lived, that's not quite, it's some gray areas in between there, you know, even down to the scientific level where, you know, they've got a lot of clips and videos now even online where they're doing the test with just the vibration of certain words. I love you. I like you. You're beautiful. And then one is done with water. One is done with plants. You know, it's different stuff like that. And it's two different effects. One is these beautiful designs, or the plant grow all big and beautiful, and the other stuff is moldy and doesn't even grow, or like, I mean, it has a real effect. So when we get to the point, like the brother was saying, just like we were saying before, one and the same, your words mean something. You know, like most of us don't understand that the subconscious brain files a lot of things away and doesn't really know the difference. So if you tell the brain I love you more than you tell it I hate you, it files that away. You might don't think of it that way, but the brain is not thinking of it like that. It just hears it, files it away. Most people they don't know, they don't see it like that. So if you really want to say that we're going to be a part of the solution, because even good people can let bad things happen. You know, even a good person can stand on the side and just watch or pull his phone out instead of at least saying hey or something, or, you know, or taking some kind of action. So I'm saying that to say, as creators, it's like the Spider-Man, it's like the superhero thing. With power comes great responsibility. So if you have 100 followers, you still got power. You ain't gotta have 2 million, couple 100,000. If you got 200 followers, any one of those 200 people could be and go on to be someone great in the world that could change our existence for the better. So I look at it in a sense of healing every step of the way. Like everything that I write, the conversations that I have, definitely the things I write. As a creator, I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna get off of that for real. As a creator, from getting into acting, from voiceovers to all of that, my path is to have a positive influence. You know, definitely from the stuff that we're writing, any stuff that I'm gonna be writing or singing, anything like that from this point forward, whether it's by myself or with rough ends, I want it to have a purpose. I want it to have a profound effect on healing, on putting attention in the right places. So, I mean, that's just, I mean, you know, younger, it's a different thing. Yeah, I guess as you get older, I mean, we felt that way when we were younger too, but definitely getting older, it's like, I know that everything has an effect. Everything is cause and effect. Mm-hmm. Most things, if not everything, is cause and effect. So, if I'm going to put some relationship songs out there, I want to put more positive relationship songs than anything. Talking about the right stuff. What if a person listened to my song and they listening to my song for advice how to handle a situation? Like, what should I put in the song thinking about it like that? Like, dang, it's people that actually do that. Yeah. Like, dang, how should I handle the situation? All right. Girl, get over here and listen to what I gotta say. Like, am I gonna put that? No, that ain't gonna work. That ain't right. That ain't. Brother called me up, meet me on tour. Be like, yeah, man, I was going through this relationship situation. And I was listening to the song, put her out. Yeah, and I put her out. No, brother, I ain't no. But I mean, in all seriousness, it's a lot of people, and especially in different parts of the world, who will actually hit you up. They'll be in the DM, whatever. Like, listen, man, I love the song. Congratulations. That made me really think about what I was saying, you know, how I was going about the situation. I wasn't going about it the right way, man, and I just played the song. That's really how we wrote the song, though. That's really how we wrote the song. We wanted it to be a real piece, a real conversation piece, something that could stand on its own, you know, so.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Hey.
And as you're talking, Dante, you know, the word messenger, because we're all messengers in some place.
You know, Chi, that is really beautiful.
Sorry. Did you say something, Stuart? Sorry. Is he frozen? I think he's frozen.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that was really beautiful, because there were two things that were really at the forefront of my mind as you were speaking. One of them was about intention, about the energetic expression we put into the world is like a reflection of the energetic temperament we carry with us. And there's a difference between carrying something and cultivating something. And there's a difference between gifting something and pushing something. So I thought that was really, really beautiful how you framed that. And I can think of the many times in my life when I've gone to music for solace, when I've gone to music to calm my soul. So that's the frame that so much of the time people are engaging in music from.
Right.
They're looking for solace, looking for guidance. So there's a real power that artists have in terms of what kind of conversations they're having with all of these invisible listeners. It's a real power. It's a real power. In one of my other hats as a consultant in the cultural world, we would call what we're discussing here intangible culture. You can't put your hand on it. You can't go see it in a museum. But when it happens, you're moving your body, you're feeling it. And that's power.
Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. Loving this. This is real meaty.
Yeah.
Real meaty. Or if you're vegan, it's real vegan-y. You know,
yeah, vegan-y, right? Right. That's what I was doing.
We got substance. We got substance going on.
Right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, wow. And yeah, and it's just as Stuart says, you know, we're all architects, but all messengers. And when you realize that responsibility, then you realize I just got to keep checking in on myself so that I can intentionally, as Stuart says, reflect that. And because you never know who's watching, and especially the young people. And it's not just young people, anyone. People are always watching, because even the elders are in places of need and pain. And so who we are and who we become, not just to ourselves, but for them, is so important. And that's why it's good to have people around you that can, that you can be held accountable to. Because I'm a Sagittarian, and I've got a few people around me that can rein me in sometimes if I'm accountability, be open to that. So thank you. And Kwame, Mr. Jamaica, Wagwan.
You know, something is you know what's interesting? They say that nothing happens by accident. You know, I mean, everything is created in a way that, you know, especially if there's a vibration, whether it's positive or negative, there's a vibration. And the funny thing is, listening to everyone is how everything ties up. You know, writing is at the fundamentals of it. But for me, it's listening to Stuart talk about Afrofuturism, because I've written a number of pieces, Stuart, that have been awarded for around, you know what I mean, in terms of bringing in our story as Africans in the diaspora and that experience and creating something from it. And it's also interesting to listen to Skyler and meeting Alex Haley on the plane, and then listen to Chi talking about in the present in regards to, again, writing something from who we are as a people. So the interweaving, the common denominator for me is the writing. And as a writer, I'm always fascinated about our story and how, what I look like. And for me, in terms of how I've used writing in particular, is I had the opportunity to go to Ghana, to go to one of the enslavement forts, to Cape Coast in particular. And it was interesting that, because at that time I was going through a part of experience of being in a state of depression. But listening to the brothers now, one thing that I did in order to anchor me or to take me from being in a particular place is I went into 2 cells. They have these cells where they put men in one cell and the woman and children in another cell. So, you know, immediately the trauma that everyone's going through at that particular time, because families are torn apart, right? Well, whether it's a man have a girlfriend and wife or children. So the trauma that we have to deal with at that particular time. And I still believe it's in our DNA today for many of us, because we haven't revisited that time in terms of our experience, our journey, our story. But what I tend to do, what I did actually, that I got 2 rocks, one from the male cell and one from the female cell, or where they were kept. And in a way, it's bringing back a story of then, where we are now, and where we need to be in the future. So for me, it's and I do that through my own writing, of sharing, of uplifting and inspiring, and to provoke thought. You know, because I've never tried Afrofuturism, Stuart, until something inspired me to do so. And funny enough, and this is something which is not general public yet, but there's a competition called the Commonwealth Short Story Prize, and I've been shortlisted for it. It's international, obviously. Commonwealth is, you know, colonial, you know, that is it, right? It's a colonial, you know, a byproduct from the colonial time. And the funny thing is, you know, Stuart, is that the story that I've been shortlisted for is exactly Afrofuturism.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's a sci-fi of the African American experience, of the Caribbean folklore, all mixed together in the story. So that's what I'm saying, that the connections that here today, right now, and seeing the manifestations of that, and the story within itself also shows someone who's been through a particular period in his life, but was now in the process of healing, and the ancestors visiting him, showing him signs, helping along his way to be healed. You know, so yeah, it's and what I'm moving towards doing now is having writing groups, actually, which I got to mention, in terms of enabling men to share in a particular space.
Well, May, it looks like you've got 3 members of your writing group right here.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Ready to go.
That'd be awesome. Like I said, it's just something that came to me.
Our quills are quivering.
Yeah, you know, so
at the ready.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm in the process of putting that together to enable men to have a space, and using writing as a way of communicating, and a way of communicating how we're feeling, and those vulnerabilities that come up. And writing is a way, as Chi would know, in terms of songwriting, it's a phenomenal way of expressing. So so I'm in the process of putting that together to enable men to have a space so we can share through storytelling or just through journaling.
Would you like to learn how to write lyrics?
I'm a poet too, you know. I'm a poet too, so I'm a poet also. I'm an award-winning poet, actually.
Lyrics are a little bit different.
Yeah, I know, but I have that skill set, definitely, without a doubt. I'm open to.
If you'd like to learn, I'd love to teach you.
Oh, wonderful! Oh, wow! Yeah, I'm open to that. Believe me, because as a poet, you know what I mean. Like I said, I do love poetry, and I know that lyrics, to a great extent, like you said, it has a skill set which is above poetry. But no, for sure, I definitely would look to that.
Lyrical content is the fastest, delivery system that mankind has ever made, right? There are 5 billion love songs, 5 billion, but there are only 192 million social conscious songs.
Wow!
So my foundation is to raise the level of social conscious music. Music that heals, music that heals, educates, and solves problems, right? And it could be any kind of instrumentation whatsoever, as long as the lyrics are about healing, education, solving problems, right? And we need that right now more than ever, because I can show you songs that changed and records that changed everything. I was born in 1956, and when in the 70s, I watched that "What's Going On" album. Marvin Gaye.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he was doing all these love songs, but it wasn't. But everybody remembers "What's Going On." 50 years later.
Yes. So
when and then you talk about
Sam Cooke.
John Lennon. John Lennon wrote Imagine.
Yeah.
What he was saying was imagine peace, right?
Yes.
That was bigger than all the stuff that he wrote in the Beatles.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sam Cooke kind of change is gonna come, right? So you're
Man.
right. But no.
So many. Music is the fastest delivery. You know what I mean? It's better now because with the internet, you can be your own record company. You can be everything to yourself. What record companies were doing for you before, you don't need that anymore. You can do it yourself. It's all about bringing traffic to you. And I looked at the numbers that you was talking about too, brother, right here. Like a Chinese friend of mine, he said, Skyler, how many people in London? I said, probably, 12, 13 million people. And he said, just like, you don't need but 100,000. If you get 100,000 people to pay $10, that's $1 million a year.
That's right.
You can get by on $1 million a year.
Yeah.
I just have to intervene at this moment, and because Kwame referenced the Commonwealth, for a thing I was doing a little while back, I had to come up with a number. So I looked at the population of the Commonwealth. 2.6 billion.
Okay.
Yes.
1/3 of the Earth's human population.
Yeah.
Now, I appreciate not all of that population are from the African diaspora or from African countries, but a significant, substantial proportion of them are.
Yes.
We're already arrived. We just have to connect the dots.
2 billion?
2.6 billion.
2.6.
If we can get $10 a piece from 2 billion, all of us can go on vacation for the rest of our lives.
Well, I like the idea going forward of the rest of my life being a working vacation.
Oh man, a dollar.
Work 2-3 days a month and then just enjoy, create, appreciate, support.
Well, Skyler, you've got to make it. You need to take the lead on that now. Okay, we're going to come to you for the way forward, right? You, Skyler.
Listen, okay. I just want, because it's so much to what I'm doing, right? I've turned into an activist in the last 20 years. And in 2007, I brought Sly and the Family Stone back to the stage.
Okay.
Right. And something I never did before. I've never been a manager and nothing like that. And but I learned I could do anything I want. I've now had a radio show.
Sorry, there's a bit of feedback. Is
that me?
I think that there's some feedback going on.
I don't hear it. I don't know if it's me, but
it's gone now, isn't it? It's gone.
Yeah, it's clean again now.
Okay. So I've turned into an activist. And I want to help musicians because we was always waiting on somebody else to come save us and make us stars and stuff like that. I found a way that we don't have to do that. And but my genre is social conscious music, so I'm doing something totally different than anybody in the record industry whatsoever. Matter of fact, when I started this thing, I say, man, I'm tired of these brothers killing each other stuff, man. I got to say something about that, man. We got to use music to stop that. And I had this guy at a party. I told him I'm gonna start doing social conscious music. He said, "Good luck with that, Sky." And just because he said that, and I walked out there and said, "Okay, that's something that's not there." You know what I mean? And when I look at the Nina Simone's and Curtis Mayfield's, all these people who writing social conscious music way back then, but there was no platform for it. Nobody wants to take. I found out nobody wants to take a chance on something positive. That the labels didn't want to take a chance on it. I said, okay, so I'm gonna have to create it myself, huh? That's no problem. You know what I mean? And so when I start finding out, all my buddies was they was writing love songs like crazy. I said, man, how many social conscious songs have you ever written? Oh, Skyler wrote 2 or 3 of them. And I figured if I can go get them people and gather all these tunes together, I could start doing festivals around social conscious music. You won't even need security. People coming out to hold on to each other. And
now you're talking, brother. Now you're talking.
Wait. People coming on to hold on to each other and dance and listen to some positive lyrical content. So I took it a step further. I'm going around the world to find different instruments that you don't see in the United States all the time. You can put your own beat on it, but it has to be real. Somebody, a human being has to play it. So when I became this activist, I looked at the things that, okay, since the music business is in peril, the labels is gone, right? I'll say, so we get to start over again. Why don't we take all the stuff out that was wrong in the first place, like racism in music, like age discrimination in music, and image? The way you look has nothing to do with the way you sound. Nothing, right? And I did a demonstration with these kids. I put them in a van. I started driving. I was channel surfing on the radio. And so we found one that they liked. They, oh, look at that. Oh. I said, and then I cut it off. What you doing, Skyler? Hold on. I said, guys, right now, do you really care about how these people look? No, turn it back on. I said, well, that's what I come from. There was no videos. You fell in love with the artist from the record and the radio, and you went to go see them. You didn't care how they looked, right? Then I did a demonstration. I took a 10-year-old kid up on the stage. I said, this is the key of C. Can you hit the key of C? He hits the key of C. And I say to the audience, class, what does that sound like? You ain't looking at it, right? What does it sound like? That's the key of C, right? We all agree. Then I have an 80-year-old man come up on the stage. Sir, will you hit this key right here? Right? He hits the key. Now I tell everybody to close your eyes. And whisper to one of these gentlemen to come over and play. I say, class, what does that sound like? Key of C. Can you tell me that? You can't tell the age because you listen to it. It's not something you was looking at, right? And then this is the one I'm gonna kill him with. I always wanted to go on Oprah Winfrey so I can knock it out of the park. I'm gonna go in there, take one of my buddies that got a little studio in his bedroom. You know what I mean? It's a little, set, bring it up on the stage. And if you guys remember the movies in the 50s, they would have one light that shines down on the piano and the rest of the stage is dark. You guys seen the movies like that, right? I'm gonna have him put it on all his equipment. Then I'm gonna take a 10-year-old kid. Have a seat right here, son. Would you like to hear some drums? Yeah. And I have my buddy over there program drums from his bedroom. He programs the drum. And that kid's like, yeah, that's it, right? And then I say, well, cut that off. Then I'm gonna have somebody that really plays drums walk in the building. And I want him to have the cases with him, struggling to get it up on the stage, right? And then the kid's he's 10 years old. He's watching this, right? Dang, what the hell is that? Because we get into that right now. If we don't stop this crap and not using the human beings, right? And I want him to take all that stuff out, put the bells, whistles on, the cymbals, and he sits down with 2 sticks. And he all this right here, right? Hey, that computer didn't do that. That's for sure, right? Now, as soon as he walk in, all the old people like us, that's my shit right there. That's real drums. I know it, well, this 10-year-old kid's go, man. So then I go, okay, you want to hear some bass? And I have them create some bass over there too, right? Then I'm gonna tell somebody, okay, open the door back and let the bass player in. And he's struggling down, trying to get his amplifier all down there, man, and get it up on the stage, and he start plugging in crap. And the kid, 10 years old, he's watching him, right? And he's going, what the hell? And then he starts playing. Then I have him play with the drummer, right? I wanted to build the whole band, Earth, Wind, and Fire, around this kid, so he could see real human beings and how it feels under your feet. That's different. I was gonna put his chair right in between the bass and the drums, so he could feel all this stuff. And he watching the crowd go crazy. He won't look at a computer again after that.
Once again, that's something powerful, because do you know what? There's a synergy to what you've all said today. It's almost like you're taking things back to basics, back to the earth, back to the soul and heart and root of what life really is about. Stuart, you've spoken about literally roots as not just as an analogy, but roots, the roots of who you are. And then Dante talked about, Dante said something about, you talked about, men, you don't, people killing each other, coming away from all of that. And then Skyler, you've talked about bringing back a way of operating and being that goes back to the soul so that it's reconnecting. And then Kwame talks about the writing aspects. So you're all talking about, it's almost like you're building this power battery. You can plug it in wherever you go.
Yeah.
And that power, that this battery is the everything of us. So in there, you got the writing, you got the lyrics, you got the music, you got the songs, you got the emotional stuff. This is the battery. You guys are the battery, the plug, not the plugs,
we are organic generators.
You're on mute.
Plugged in,
We are organic generators.
That's right.
Baltimore, they call it. In Baltimore, they call it the plug. We got this song called the plug.
Yeah.
The plug in street terms is like the guy you go to get your stuff. Like the dealers on the street go to this guy to get like all of that stuff. Like, and they call that guy the plug. He'll have the most for the cheapest. We're the plug.
Yeah, right.
Plug Ultra.
Plug. The good plug. The plug and the plug of life that's rebuilding, as we talking about. The foundations.
Yeah.
The foundations.
Yeah, you've just said something. The plug of life. That's it.
Plug of life.
Plug of life.
That's it. Lock you in. I just did a new single. I got a new band. We call the Global Messengers, right? And I linked up with this brother from Ghana. I work in Ghana too as well. I linked up with this brother from Ghana who was living in Amsterdam, and I went and wrote this tune on this, but the track is in reggae.
Oh wow.
Okay. And so he's singing in the language of Twi, and I'm singing in English. We got 3 different elements going on. And I'm scared to go do a reggae concert. I ain't got no accent, right? Who the dude coming up here faking and stuff like that?
I don't need accent. Reggae is a global thing. Yeah.
Just need soul to make reggae. Reggae is soul.
Yeah. So the tune's called One World, and it's on YouTube right now with me and this. I love it because when I think about the 3 elements of information, you know what I mean, and we're doing it over reggae. It goes to show you, you know what I mean. As long as people. I was kind of nervous to go do a concert because UB40, they're not, you know what I mean. They from Jamaica neither. They've been around years now, you know. You know, so
UB40 be a bunch of brummers. They're yum-yums. They can make their reggae. Why can't you?
Yeah.
But gentlemen, we've got literally about 10 minutes, and I can go over, a little because I'm just really comfortable listening to all of what you have been sharing. Yeah. But what I'd like to, over the next few minutes, maybe for the next 2 minutes each, is for you all to share what you can offer if somebody is looking for, if there's somebody out there, and like I said, this is Men Supporting Men, and we're talking about, each person has shared about the different modalities or therapies that they use as part of either their healing process or what they do as practitioners. So I'd like to sort of offer you guys, 2 minutes just to talk about if somebody is in a space and they think, actually, I could do with contacting Kwame, or I could do with contacting Stuart, or I could do with contacting Skyler. Just share for 2 minutes each, gents, what you can offer and how they can get hold of you. So we can start with Stuart.
Okay, so there are 3 things that I do when I work with folk. When I work with brothers, when I work with sisters, it's the same, but it boils down to 3 things. So one of those things is that I work as a systemic constellator, and that's a modality of psychotherapy that doesn't look at the dynamics going on inside a person, but it looks at what's happening relationally between them and the people in their life, in their family, in their friendship circle, in their community. And it doesn't just look at those dynamics in the present, it also looks at them ancestrally. So we might go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations or more, because of course, in every person's life, in every person's family, however their family is shaped, things happen between people because we're all people. But also things happen to people from the world, whether that's migration, whether that's war, whether that's famine, whether that's flooding, whether that's a crazy political situation. All of these events in a person's life have an impact. There's some form or another of shock. So systemic constellations work at the simplest level separates things that have been wrongly joined and connects things that have been wrongly separated. And we put people in their right order. Those who came first have greater authority than those who came after. So there's a natural flow of authority or of love or energy, of life force carrying forward. So that's one of the frames that I work with. I also work as a transformative coach. So I walk with people and help them to understand, gain clarity, gain perspective and appreciation about not only the skills and the resources and the talents they already have, but how they can most usefully, most creatively, most sustainably exercise those skills with intention in moving forward in their life. And then the third space that I work in is as a writer, as a creative writer. And I work with people to help them really attune to their own creative process through writing. Because we're born in language. We can't escape language. So we better get a grip on language so we can ride it rather than have it ride us. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do.
Wow, wow. And what, oh, is cheese coming back in? Okay, and how can people contact you, Stuart? I mean, I'm going to put details up, but just share how people or where they can go to.
Yeah, the simplest way is email. I'm what's the term? I'm a reluctant social media presence. So you're real lucky to get me tonight. So so yeah, email is the simplest, most direct way. I do have a profile on 1 or 2 of those social media channels, but I'm more of a ghost than a presence there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing, Stuart. Hello, Dante. What we're doing now, we're just taking 2 minutes for everybody to share, you know, what they can offer if someone's in need. You know, what can they offer in terms of, Stuart's just shared the practices and the services that he can offer. And so we're going to go through Skyler, Kwame, then we're going to come to you. Yeah. Okay. So Skyler, so what is it? So there's 2 minutes to share, you know, what is it that you can share? Yeah, 2 minutes. And I'm going to have to type this one because he's so impassioned.
Yeah. It's really easy. You can, obviously you can Google my name and then Music for Global Change broadcast. That's my TV show, right? And Music for Global Change is my movement. And it lets you know everything that's going on. I'm sorry?
There's feedback again.
Wow, it's weird.
Mute.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Music for Global Change is my, you know, you can go there and find me. You can find me on Google. You can find me on YouTube and all the rest of them, right? My movement is about social conscious music and the benefits of it. And I have artists come on to talk about it. You know, I love it because I get to introduce people behind the curtain they make, a lot of them are making what's really making it happen in the first place, right? And I celebrate those people, you know, because, you know, nobody knows who they are, but they're very powerful people. You know what I mean? Just had a billionaire on my show last week, you know, and he's like, I'm way into what you're doing, Skyler. He's trying to help people. And I know music does that, right? And you know, like I said, I'm not popular in the real world of music where it's all love songs and stuff like that. So I know I got to build it, right? But the cool thing is, if there's already 192 million love songs, somebody likes it.
And what can you offer? I mean, if someone then wanted to learn to write conscious lyrics, Skyler, is that something that you offer? What is it that you can offer someone? Because someone might resonate with you and want to come and sit with you. So what is it that you can offer? What service?
I teach young people. And first thing I go is, if there was something you could change for the better, what would that be? And they would express to me their opinion. I say, well, go write about it. Put a melody on it. Put some music behind it, right? And go write about something positive. People are tired of bad news. I'm about to give bad news some competition.
Okay, brilliant. So in a nutshell, you know, if anybody wants to learn to write conscious lyrics, Skyler is the man to go to. I've got on mute. Yeah, Skyler's the man to go to, and I'm sure he can also put songs together and, you know, take it to the next level. So thank you very much, Skyler.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, and the next one, Kwame, just 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I'll get fresher on.
All righty. So basically, I enable, because I'm a storyteller, and I enable men as well as women to have a space to let me help them tell their story, especially if someone's going through a particular stage in their life or experiences. Like I said, my last book, My Day with Depression, was about my experience with depression, and I found a way of expressing that, because journaling and writing about an experience helps in the healing. So that's what I do. I'm a ghostwriter as well on top of that. So I'm a book coach, mentor, ghostwriter, enabling people to tell their stories, as well as now looking to run this workshop for men specifically, limited spaces, and it's basically enabling us, because we do have, for a lot of us, we have a difficulty expressing how we're feeling, our vulnerabilities, how we're emotive or not, and the space is just basically for us to find a way of doing that through writing. And like I said before, writing is a way of healing, and writing is a way of expressing, and writing is a way of communicating. Yeah. So I enable that through what I provide. So people can get in contact with me, and they can Google my name, Kwame MA McPherson. So that's KWAME MA McPherson. They'll see everything about me in regards to my track record, so to speak. Yeah. And they can get in contact with me at info@authoritybrandbuilding.com. So that's info@authoritybrandbuilding.com, or they can get in contact with me via LinkedIn, and as well as Instagram. That's under Max Key. And I got to change that, but it's the only name I could come up with at the time. So that's what I do, and that's how I enable people to heal through writing, and providing that as a means of doing so, which I enjoy, because I've helped many people, and I've got some interesting experiences I've had along the way. Excellent. Which have helped me to grow also, you know. So
thank you. And I know for next year you're also planning a special men's writing retreat in Jamaica. So look out for that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I am.
Look out for that.
Yes, I am. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Got 3 key people here already, and Dante.
I already signed up.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta be involved in that, man. So I'm looking to build. I'm looking to build with like minds. I'm definitely looking to put some structures in place for men. There's a lot of programs. There's all kind of programs for kids and women. Not to say there shouldn't be even more, but we're the last on the totem pole when it comes to any kind of help programs. Let's just be real, you know. And then it's like, even if you create something, it's like you want to make it feel safe enough that any man can come and feel like himself. That's another obstacle that really needs to be addressed when it comes to us putting these things in place. You know, because it's like in the hood. I'm one of my messages that I definitely want to put out there. Like, every young man ain't gotta be a gangster. No. Just because you a brother and you live in the hood, you ain't gotta be a gangster to be relevant. You ain't gotta be hard. You know, to fit in, to have friends. Like, this is a real issue that affects a lot of our mental health. So I'm looking to build with like minds. You know, you got monetary gain, you got a place, you got whatever you got that you could put a piece to the puzzle in, start really putting together some real foundational structure just for men, just on different levels. You know, young men of a certain age. I mean, you got a lot of people that have been in the industry that's not in the industry anymore. That's like a group of people that people don't think about, talk about. So you get suicides. You get these suicides out of the blue. Oh, such and such that used to do this.
Because they're not relevant. They don't feel relevant anymore.
Oh my goodness.
And that's why I love doing on the outside of this. Sorry, I'm just outside of this. That's why I do what I do. The other on the sofa, because it's about being relevant. It's about being validated. It's about being seen. It's about being honored. So yeah, I'm passionate about that. But I did say to it was a show.
No. It all ties back to me as being the advocate for mental health.
Yes.
Like, and the reason why I go so hard and really, as I get more time to do it, I'm gonna be going even harder with it. Is because most of us, no matter where you are in the world, and this is something that we all have in common, that where we could tear down the barriers of age, race, all of that, right? Men, most of us was raised not to show your emotions.
Yeah.
To me, that is like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, if I don't know you hurt, I don't know to help you.
That's right.
Yeah.
If I don't know you in trouble, I don't know you need. Hey, I couldn't assist you, brother, because I didn't know you was in trouble. Yeah. Well, I was raised for people not to let you see you cry or to see you whatever, but I really needed help. It's like you've been raised to work against yourself having a better life. That's a problem. That's a real issue. That's a real valid issue for men that we really got to put things in place and address, because now we're older. Now we got people coming up under us with the same perspective.
It down.
Yeah.
16, 13, 15. A lot of them didn't have things we had to make us as strong, not to say they're weak, but we've still had things to sharpen our steel and to toughen our skin a little more back in those days versus now. You know, let's just be real. We got to put these things into place. So not to really go too far off, but I'm looking to build with whoever from Jamaica, UK, over here, wherever the case is, to put structures together. I'm willing to come and speak. You can take care of my my hotel travel. I come speak on whatever board, live, I do whatever. I'm looking to do all of that stuff as I get more time. And even as far as professionally wise, where I'm going, I'm definitely getting into real estate and stuff like that, because still with the real estate, I still want to have and own my own buildings of what we're talking about. Like a men's shelter. Yeah. You don't got to come. You ain't got to be homeless. You ain't got to look like a bum or none of that to come and need somewhere to stay for a couple months to get back on your feet. Like a real shelter. You know, you ain't got to be a drug addict or none of that. You know, there's a lot of gray areas in between where we don't have it in place, fellas. Like we got to do it for ourselves. And we got to do it, us that know that it's needed, and we got to put it in place. So I'm looking to build with any and everybody. And as far as my profession, like I was saying, I'm getting more into voiceovers and acting. So I definitely want to follow a purposeful path as far as that. So director, doing movies, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know somebody, you think about parts, whatever the case is, and it got a purpose. I definitely want to be a part of it. I'm definitely trying to stray away from anything that got to do like with just being a drug dealer in the hood, or I'm a kingpin or something.
You may get some ideas from some of the stuff that I've written then, Chi.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
let's go.
you know?
Let's go, Kwame. Let's go, bro.
Well, I'm going to connect you all behind the scenes as I usually send an email with all your details. You connect. And there's something that I'm working on in the background. I've spoken about it briefly to Dante and Kwame. I'm just got to wait on something else, but I'm just feeling that the energy is ripe and right now to move forward. It is, and I'm I'm just waiting, but I'll wait for a little bit longer, and then I'll just keep moving.
Esther, you're going to have to invite us back in September so we can share with you what we've built between tonight and then, what we've built together and what we're building individually. But we will have built in 6 months from now, we will have done X, Y, and Z, and we want to come and share that with you.
That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to connect with you behind the scenes. And I think we have to do, we've all got to,
Well,
come on, Kwame.
I want to say to you, I love you so much for connecting me with these brothers. You are truly a dot connector.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Like constellations in the sky.
There it is. Malcolm Gladwell must have been watching you long before he wrote his book about mavens, connectors, and sneezers. How small things make a big difference in the world.
Yeah.
Remember, a ripple of hope can become a wave of change.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go to my TV show, Music for Global Change broadcast. Go to that so you can see some amazing people giving their stories about how beautiful social conscious music is, right?
Brilliant.
Music for Global Change broadcast on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. And the next show, everyone, thank you for those who've listened in. So if you've left messages on Facebook, I can't sort of pick them up here, but I will respond once I come off this broadcast. Yeah. And as Stuart said, in September we will be back, and I do. There's going to be there's a lot that we're going to share, because I just feel there's a movement. The movement's already started. So I'm going to see you at the end of April. I've got some more incredible guests who are going to be sharing about their story. So these men will be sharing about their story. And they're incredible men just like yourself. So thank you for taking the time, and wishing you all the best. And
namaste. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Much love.
Love, brothers and sister.
Yes.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love.
All right, bless. Bye.
Bless.
On the Sofa with Esther in the series Men Supporting Men on the last Wednesday of every month at 8 o'clock GMT is now sponsored by Father to Father, turning the hearts of the fathers to their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers. Just to die. Frames worn by Esther Austin on the show today are sponsored by Run It First.
Men don't cry. That's not true. I'm sure every man you've ever